evening, everybody. This is an emotional moment for me. I thought I would have Latanya Nolan by my side. I know I can hear her and say, "You're all right. You can do it." So, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, I would like to thank God for allowing me this moment and using me for this moment. I also want to thank the pastor and shepherd of this house, Anthony B. Nolan Sr., Mom Nolan.
Amen.
For allowing me this opportunity to preach or teach at this moment on tonight. There is a word from God on tonight. Turn your Bibles to Exodus 17, verses 8 through 10. If you please stand for the reading of the word. Exodus 17, 8 through 10, and then we're going to read verses 13 through 16. My translation Bible is a KJV, and it reads like this. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, "Choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Go to 13 through 16. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And the Lord said unto Moses, "Write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. For he said, "Because the Lord had sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." You may be seated in the presence of God.
Amen.
I would like to tag this text, "What are you fighting for?"
All right.
This is nearly the introduction of Joshua, where we first meet Joshua before anything, before Numbers, before anything. This is where the first time where Joshua is introduced into the story of the Israelites. He's in a battle with Amalek. He's been in a battle against the Amalekites, descendant of Esau, Esau's grandson Amalek, and has won due to the staff of the Lord in Moses' hand. The beginning of a battle that turns into a war. When we look at a battle, I look at the duration between battle and war. Battle is something that can be short-term, but war can be something that's long-term. Some of you right now might be going in a battle. Some of you right now are in a war. But for God to place Joshua in this moment, after all that they've been through in Exodus, if you don't know the story, let's take a walk through it.
All right.
Before Joshua is put in a battle, he was kept in captivity. He was in slavery against his own will. And the mere fact is that he just had to cross the Red Sea and seen a blessing and to be able to escape, to be able to cross the Red Sea, to be able to have your freedom. And then after that, you have Moses and the people asking for water at this particular moment, strictly in the same chapter. And then God puts you in a battle after all that you've been through. And in the text for verse 16 in chapter 17, he says you're going to have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So what this means in this text to me, and if you don't know the battle of the Amalekites, this is where Moses has the staff in his hand and he's holding it up and he gets tired and he's struggling to hold himself up. And you have Aaron and Hur come support. They come support and they guide and they put a rock under his hand to keep him up. But let's take a look at just Joshua and let's picture this. Let's picture the fact that you're fighting in the battlefield and your leader is losing his strength. Yeah. Let's take a minute and say your leader is losing it. Do you keep fighting or do you give up? And the mere fact is that Joshua is still fighting. He's merely fighting his way. He's merely slaying. He's literally, and at the end of it all, in 13, he says, Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. To me, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. And let's explain this. Some of you right now are going through a battle that God has put you in. Some of you right now have put yourself in a battle that you should have never been in the first place. And then it turned around and it became a war. You decided to put yourself in the battle, but at the end of the day, God said, watch me use it. Watch me use it. Watch me turn it into something at the end of the day that's going to turn into something for you, positive for you.
That's God. So, that's God.
To Joshua, before his time, throughout this whole text of Joshua, God was trying to see the warrior in him. He was trying to not see the soldier in him, the difference between the soldier and the warrior. The soldier enlists himself, the warrior just goes out and do it for the kingdom. The soldier is able to fight. Not only that, he might go home and but the warrior is saying, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to lay down my life for God and for my people. And right now, some of us have stopped fighting. Some of us have given up. We've been in a pandemic for a whole year. And some of us have given up. We've lost our sight. We've lost the sight of seeing what God is really made of. And so in the midst of it all, Joshua just keeps fighting. So the question is, what are you fighting for?
Come on here.
What happens when your leader is struggling to hold up his hands? What happens if he keeps his hands up, you win. If he keeps his hand down, if you lose. But what happens if you end up losing anyway? There's still a war to fight. There's still a war on the other side to fight. Even if you lose the battle, there's still a whole nother war to fight. So we're able to take something that God has given us. God, for the mere cycle of saying, God had to put something in Joshua in order for him to win, even through the midst of what Moses was going through. And so for God to merely put it in Joshua right at that time. My God, sorry.
Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Just move it on out the way. Bless the Lord.
For God to put something in Joshua right at that time is no coincidence.
Yeah.
So we're looking at Joshua. We're looking at the fight. We're looking at the battle and the wars and what are you fighting for? And so for the people that are out there fighting, don't give up because the leaders have already.
Come on, yeah.
There's a war going outside between spiritual and the unspiritual. There's a war going outside between the people who are against us. And for us, we have to just keep fighting. We have to trust in the God. Jeremiah 17:7 says, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord and whose hope is in the hope the Lord is. If you stop trusting, there will not be no hope. We gotta believe that God can deliver us and redeem us in anything that we go through. Yeah. There are 3 points that I would like to make that God has chosen out of this thing. There's purpose, plan, and provision. Purpose, plan, and provision. Let's start with purpose. Purposely, God did something on purpose to make it a purpose. And in the definition of purpose, let me read you the definition real quick. The reason why something is done or used, the aim or intention of something, the feeling of being determined to do or achieve something, the aim or goal of a person, what a person is trying to do or become. Joshua was merely at this moment was being a servant. He wasn't trying to become anything less than what he already was, or more than what he already was. Joshua never rushed God for his purpose. In fact, it was God's purpose to use Joshua in that moment. You don't believe me? Let's go to Numbers 13. Number 13 talks about the spies. How he assigned. Joshua was not just a warrior. He literally did anything that he would do for God. He would do anything for God. He said, God said, let me take him out the battlefield and let's see what I do to him and make him as a spy. Okay, so Numbers 13, he becomes a spy and spies out the land. So in the midst of it all, Joshua never said, well, why does he have me as a spy? I'm a warrior. I should be killing people. I should be slaying people. I should be taking lives. And the mere fact is Joshua never rushes. He never rushes God for his purpose. So God uses Joshua's past. He uses his past to define his purpose. Just because your past is dirty don't mean God can't use it.
Lord have mercy.
What you might be going through right now is merely what God is saying. You got to look at the big picture. You have to look at the big picture. You have to look at the big picture. Because the big picture is ultimately, obviously, is Joshua. Joshua is the mere big picture. And if we could be more like Joshua, then God bless us all. But in this context of purpose, it was God's purpose to use Joshua to see what he was going to do. Joshua never complained about being a spy. Matter of fact, he did his job very well, because for him to come back and tell the truth out of all the 12 spies between him and Caleb, for him to come back and tell the truth and say, we're going to take we can possess it. The land is flowing with milk and honey. We can take this. God uses that and says, he told the truth. Guess what? He's going into the next passing, the next way, the next time. And so God uses his purpose. He does something on purpose. Why would you lie to God in the first place if he already knew? You're testing his power. God is saying, do not test my power. God chose to use Joshua's past for something that he needed in the future. And he decided to tell the truth. We got to stop diminishing what God sends us to. We have to stop diminishing what God is trying to use us for in the mere moment. Just because he changed your ministry, or just because he changed something and did a little tweaking, does not mean that you're done fighting, you're done being on the battlefield. We have to stop diminishing what God is going to do for us. Some of you right now, he already knew that he could take something, he could possess something. So the mere fact is that God did something on purpose to make it a purpose. The second point I want to make is a plan. God had a plan for Joshua through this whole time before we even get to Joshua. Plan, an intentional decision what one is going to do. Decide on and arrange in advance. God's plan was not Joshua's plan. Joshua's plan was to submit. Plan, the mere fact was the plan was the battle. The battle was the plan the whole time. Why would you, after all that you've been through, why would you didn't put yourself in a battle, but after all that you've been through, the last thing you want to do is go to be in a battle. That's going to be war and after time and after time and after time. And so with the mere point of God arranging in advance, he arranged so many things that you find Joshua's faithfulness through the whole time. Exodus 33, and the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. What this means in Exodus 33 and 11, Joshua never wanted to stop worshiping. He never wanted to stop worshiping. I believe that Pastor Henfield Reverend Henfield put a tag in this, that he never wanted to stop worshiping. He never, even though Moses left the tabernacle, he was done worshiping God. Joshua says, I'm not going to stop. I don't want the worship to stop. I don't want the spirit, the atmosphere to calm down. I want it to rise higher and higher and higher. and higher. So in God's plan in Exodus 33 was the mere fact he said, Joshua keeps worshiping. What happens when we stop worshiping? What happens when we stop, when our leaders are done getting up and they walk out the Sunday evening? Do we stop worshiping? We have stopped worshiping God for what he's already done for us, what the things that he's arranged in us in advance. Deuteronomy 3:21 says, and I commanded Joshua at the time, saying, thine eyes have seen all the Lord your God hath done unto these two kings. So shall the Lord do unto all the kingdoms whither thou passest. Ye shall not fear them, for the Lord your God, he shall fight for you. The plan was already the battle, but God said, you've been fighting in this battle, but you've already won it. You just don't know it yet. You've been in this war for a long time, but you don't know you've already won it yet. Some of you right now have lost your job, but God is going to get ready to say, I'm going to supply you with another job. You just ain't got it yet. Some of you right now are looking for a house. You just ain't got it yet. Some of you right now are looking for the car. You just ain't got it yet. Why is it materialistic? Why is it not spiritual? Some of you right now are losing your mind spiritually. You just haven't got it back yet. You need to keep praying. Keep worshiping like Joshua did. Some of you right now are losing your minds in the house. Keep praying. He's not done with you. Why don't you sit in the house and pray? Why don't you keep worshiping? Why don't you keep praising him? Why can't you shout in your house? Why can't you worship in your house? God's plan was to see what you were going to do in the battle. Even when Moses was getting put to his hands down for you to stop fighting, do you keep fighting? God shows how the plan became the outcome. Provision is the last point I want to make. Provision, an amount or thing supplied or provided, the action of providing or supplying something for use. What God put in Joshua, Joshua applied it. What God put in you, you must apply it. Some of you are right now in battles that you were really never equipped for. Some of you right now are losing the battle, and you possibly could be losing the war is because you're using the wrong tools and the wrong equipment. The edge of your sword is not sharpened anymore. So the simple fact of it is, what do? Do you give up? Do you just run away? No, it's not that easy. God tells us to be bold and have good courage in Joshua. If we look, now we're going to turn to Joshua. We're going to actually be in Joshua. If we look in Joshua, he's already commanded. He's already allowed Joshua to possess the land. In Deuteronomy 31, he tells Joshua that you are going to be the person that you're going to be the person, the next in line. You're the person that's next in line. You are the person that is next to lead Israel to the promised land. If that's not good enough, I don't know what is more good enough. In Joshua, it's not genocide. In Joshua, it's not just about killing. It's about purging the land of its sin. It's about purging the land of its uncleanness. Right now, we are not even purging the land. It seems like we just throwing our own sins on the world and letting it fill up with the sins. But what are we to do when our leaders stop holding their hands? What are you fighting for? Joshua fought for Israel before Israel even became became the big Israel that it became. Before then, Joshua was put in a hard place. You have to leave your family. You have to leave your friends. You have to leave because everybody else wants to lie and say that the land can't be taken. Why we can't just take what we have right now, what God has given us now. And in provision, the amount of something, the amount or thing that was supplied or provided, the action of providing or supplying something for use, God only gave Joshua one sword. God allowed Joshua, he saw how Joshua prayed. He saw how he worshiped him. He saw in the mere fact of the trials and tribulation that he had to go through. You never heard about Joshua complaining. And In Deuteronomy 31, before he possesses the land, and God tells him by word and says, this is the land that we are going to, this is what I'm going to possess you with. And the Lord shall do unto them as he did to Sihon and to all kings of the Amorites, and unto the land of them, whom he destroyed. And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according to all the commandments which I have commanded you. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called unto Joshua and said in the sight of Israel, be strong and of good courage. For thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord has sworn unto their fathers to give them, and thou shalt cause them to inherit it. Let's go back to 6. Deuteronomy 31 and 6. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. Who is them? The kings that caused the deadly sins of the earth before we go into the Jordan. God has already given you land. He's already given you something that you inherited. Why are you letting people diminish what God has given you? Why are you letting people diminish your praise? Why are you letting people diminish your worship? Why are you letting people diminish something that God has given you? And the simple question is, what are you fighting for? Are you fighting for yourself, or are you fighting for on God's behalf? We have a song called, I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. But the thing about it is, what is the whole point of being in the army of the Lord if you're not fighting? It's more than about just slaying. It's more than about just yelling and saying, I'm willing to die. It's people that are outside of this country that is willing to worship God. But the people that's inside the country that can do so freely, that can do so, that they can just walk around their Bibles. How many of you will lay down your life for God? How many of you will sit up here and say, God, use me as a vessel as you need to see fit? God, use me, command me. Some of you right now are walking into your jobs because you're scared because you're going to lose your job. Now, I'm not saying go get fired. Let's not do that. I'm not saying go get fired. But the people that are diminishing God, the people that are diminishing your praise, the people that are coming against you, God says, be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he is that doth go with thee. He shall not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Some of you right now don't even believe right now in this passage because of the pandemic. Some of you had corona. Some of you knew people who had corona. But God says, be strong and of good courage. Why? It's because he is on your side. In closing, it's time. It's time for it to be Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Yeah. Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you. Ephesians 6:13. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all to stand. What happens when your leader stops standing? Will you continue to fight? What happens when the congregation, if you want to be the salt in the earth and here, it ain't gonna do no good. Why you can't be that out there? It hurts how we treat God. It hurts how we treat God in this moment. What are you fighting for? Are you simply going to fight for the mere fact that God gave it all? Or are you going to fight because the lost generation is lost? We have a generation that's coming up, and that is not equipped with the right equipment. We're struggling right now. In the mere fact, we're struggling to keep up because the generation has forgot. In Judges, it talks about it. It talks about the generation. It talks about how they not know the teaching. It talks about how they not know. They've heard of it, but not know the ways of God. We have to stop treating God like a convenience. Come on. We got to stop treating him like as if he's going to just keep on keeping on blessing us. Some of you right now, the battle might be a relationship. The battle might be a marriage. The battle might be the church that you shouldn't even be at. The battle and the war are two different things. Some of you right now are dealing. Do not be a modern Pharaoh. Let yourself go. Let yourself learn about God. Let yourself fight on the army. Let yourself, even though you've been through what you've been through, let yourself go. Let yourself be available to God to be used in any way. That is my closing remark. That is
Amen.